All right, thank you. Thank you, Bob. One thing, like Bob said, that it's hard to find two people that will agree on almost anything in this industry. And when we talk about business model, I think one of the things that has been difficult for everyone is a lot of times in this industry we build our car wash model around a site rather than being more franchise-like, where we come up with a perfect model and then we go find a site to fit the model. And so that's one of the things that's been difficult and that we're working on here. So Section 1, the perfect car wash business models, and how we have taken a mom-and-pop car wash industry and looking to figure out how to rival Walgreens and McDonald's. Just to give you the basis here, A sites. I think everyone agrees that to make a car wash successful, we need a property, a A-plus site, location, location, location. So the problem is, how do we come up with a car wash business model that can justify those A properties? We're talking on the levels with Walgreens, McDonald's, Wendy's. All these big franchise players have a lot of advantages over us. However, we believe we need to be right in that league next to them. To do that, we have to have the return on investment model set up to justify those $1 million an acre and plus properties. That's the overall problem. Just to give you a benchmark of where these guys stand, Walgreens per store averages $8.9 million in annual sales. That comes out to $797 in revenue per square foot annually for an average Walgreens. Fast food chains anywhere from $350 to $750 per square foot. A Las Vegas casino, $1,119 a square foot on average. And the car washes right now, we estimate maybe we're around $220, somewhere in that region per square foot. How do we justify the land usage? How are we maximizing our return? A few things that we need to look at is the franchises. They have a better capability with their business model because of the whole franchise duplication. A few things we can learn from McDonald's in terms of business model is to look at what they're doing right now. I think everyone's aware McDonald's is literally flattening their stores right now and rebuilding them from the ground up. They put in new processes, more efficient systems, reduce labor, better design. They tear the place down, and in 3 months they'll have a new one constructed on that same property. Now, what most people don't know is already right now McDonald's is redesigning again. So the model they're rolling out right now, they have one-upped already and are going to begin rolling out a new design. Just a few quotes. I know there's a lot on the screen there, but I'll read over a few of these quotes. They're talking about in Europe, where they started this second new design, they're already up 5.2%. They're attributing that to the new, fresh design re-imaging. One of the quotes here, I think we can relate all this to the car wash industry and learn from it. How consumers, they may not have made a conscious decision where to eat. So the ability to visually differentiate one's brand quickly in the consumer's mind from other competitors becomes much more paramount, something I believe we're going to start to see in the car wash industry. Add to that the new design. In our industry, new designs, we have to target different consumers. We have my generation, we have different needs and different likes that are very much visually appealing. McDonald's isn't stupid. In addition to the new menu items, they attract the coffee crowd, creating a physical environment that goes after sophisticated types who may have shunned fast food. So likewise in our industry, there's people who have shunned our car washes. How do we redesign or re-image and make things appeal to the sophisticated crowd? People's overall expectations for the restaurant environments have increased in the past decade. So we're talking about the expectations for the environment in which someone is eating at a fast food restaurant. Now the decor in the environment is something people care about. They talk about it. It's much more important. It used to be about the food and the price. A lot of it now is about the atmosphere and how do you feel when you go in there. These efforts are not only showing up because of the added appeal, but also because the brands, like everything else, get tired. And our car washes as well get tired. They need an uplifting. They need a facelift. Or to the extreme extent, if we have good locations, we need to literally tear them down and rebuild with new, better processes, lower labor, and rejuvenate our facilities. I'm going to talk about all the different models in the car wash industry, not necessarily all of them, but in particular express, flex serve and in-bay automatics, and how we're working to improve that business model. Again, all about the ROI. The ROI allows us to justify very expensive properties that we need to be on. So in express model, a couple traits, and good and bad. You know, you're quick in and out car wash, typically going more for an impulse buy. We focus more on traffic counts and a little less on rooftops as opposed to the interior cleaning model. The problem with express washing right now are very inconsistent by regions. We have some places we need water softeners, some places we need hot water, different chemical technologies. So it's very difficult to create a duplicated system because of that. It's hard to differentiate services in the car wash. How do I tell this car wash from this car wash? Which one's better? Wasted land and a lack of a congruent model. A lot of wasted space on a lot of car washes today. So how do we perfect that? Tommy Car Wash Systems and AVW are working to perfect that through a franchise-type model that everyone can duplicate. We've invested additional money into the look, as is McDonald's. We're going for capture rate and impulse buy off the street, so it's very important that we spend the money on the architecture. We've cut the cost of doing business by up to 25%, we believe, through a lot of things I'll go over in just a second, ways that we're saving money to, again, create a better ROI. We're highly invested in differentiating, want to stand out. Towers are rounded arches, wide open car washes. We need to differentiate car washes from other car washes. A low labor model. We've gotten the express model down to one employee to run an entire facility. We do this through systems like the flight deck, the pod system, and we have created a full franchise type model that can run one employee, make it very simple, easy to manage. Free vacuums with car wash purchase is a great option to allow us to generate some revenue at the vacuums rather than taking all this square footage of land and wasting it with no money coming in. We're able to offer free vacuums but also charge some customers so that we can bring in revenue with those vacuums. And again, we're pushing frequency, 600,000 cars per year. We've accomplished in our city, we're in a small city in Michigan, 100,000 people in the greater area. With 3 sites, we've been able to generate 600,000 cars per year between those 3 sites, all within a 2.5 mile radius of each other. So creating frequency, and that comes down to quick in and out, fast processing, and great quality. What is the traits of the flex serve model? A case study here, Station Auto Wash in Virginia. Efficient interior cleaning is key today. Virtually all the interior cleaning new construction projects we're doing incorporate a people mover belt conveyor so that we can do the interior cleaning on a belt. It increases our cars per man hour, makes the process more efficient and a better financial model. We're minimizing labor using new technology and things like the belt conveyor. High ticket averages typically you're going for in the flex model, and you have the ability for quality control. How are we perfecting that model? We've incorporated this express facility into, as well as an interior cleaning facility you see on the left-hand side. Customer goes through the tunnel, they can leave, or they can loop around onto a belt conveyor. We've perfected the system with easy-to-manage flight deck. This allows us to have one single building where everything's together. We've reduced the construction cost by doing that. A single money collection point versus your typical full service or flex serve. We've got to collect money, and we've got ticket writers and this extra labor. We're now able to do that on auto tellers and also with human cashiers in one place. Money's in one place. The ticket writing, the sales is in one place. We've minimized labor with this system. We can run this entire facility with as little as 3 people. 1 again on the express side and as low as 2 on the interior cleaning side. By turning up and down the speed of a belt, we can control the processing speed. And as we get busier, we turn that speed up, put more guys on the assembly line, and we get up to higher processing speeds. What are some traits of the in-bays around the country? In-bays is a really tough market right now that we're trying to figure out ways to improve. There's underutilized sites everywhere from coast to coast, some of them even being used as storage facilities. They're mass duplicated. The benefit of in-bays is we can fit them where we can't necessarily fit tunnels. In-bay automatics typically have a bad processing speed. How do we overcome that? Typically, they turn out a lower-end quality and maybe have a bad reputation for that. However, they have low costs and the ability to be unmanned and low operating costs. At Tommy's and AVW, we're working to perfect the in-bay automatic using new systems with our dual belt conveyor. putting in a high-grade point-of-sale system with a gate and a self-loading entrance system. We can get this in by automatic up to 35 to 40 cars an hour. In a gas station environment with a gas station and a C-store, we're able to run that unattended so that the cashiers in the car wash or in the gas station are actually responsible if there's a problem, but not actually manning the car wash itself. And we lower the operating costs using friction equipment. The bottom line, again, maximizing ROI, lowering the development cost, lowering the operating cost, creating a perfect franchise model, increasing the frequency of customers, increasing our revenue per square foot of land used. How do we create a higher ROI and business model and therefore justify the A sites this business requires? A few ways we're lowering costs right now, reducing the construction cost by no wasted motion. We've created systems where we've already paid for the blueprints and everything, mechanical, electrical, plumbing drawings that people can just use. Vacuums, we're reducing the cost of vacuums with new systems. We've reduced site development time by 6 months with pre-made prints, mechanical, electrical, plumbing drawings, and such. Construction times are reduced. We can put a building together in 10 days. The equipment cost, we've been able to have lean manufacturing processes reduce the cost of equipment by as much as 5%. Remote I/O systems and new plumbing and electrical processes. By having a franchise-like concept, again, we have no wasted motion. Your typical single-site development, the water comes in here and we need it over here. The electric comes in here, we need it over here. Well, by creating a perfect model, we're able to not do any backtracking in the electrical or any backtracking in the plumbing. We only keep all that stuff on one side of the building and save costs there, making it a better model. Trying to reduce energy consumption with acrylic roofs. We've been able to reduce the cost of equipment. It's one of the largest assets in your company, and it is losing its value every car that goes through your car wash. We're able to reduce that cost. Our stainless steel equipment we've been able to resell for 50% of its value 10 years later. So therefore, again, reducing the cost of this business. Taking out the divider room from the back room to the tunnel, we're saving some money. We've got installation time down to 10 days with our prefab pod system pre-wired. We save labor using the Tommy system with the flight deck. A flight deck is a system that basically allows a cashier to also be the guy there to help load cars if need be. That allows us to run with one employee. So we're cutting out the additional manager sort of person there. Self-loading with a plasma TV, mirror, and signage. We loaded our car washes in Michigan up to 160 cars an hour without any employees out in the tunnel. And that's not even on a belt conveyor, that's on a regular conveyor. Cars pull on bumper to bumper themselves, saving $70,000 a year. Simplifying the car washing equipment so it's easily maintainable. These are all franchise concepts that McDonald's can utilize, but plague our industry because we're so fragmented in single sites. It's very difficult to have these savings. Where McDonald's, they can roll out blueprints, they can save money on equipment because every unit's the same. So we're trying to duplicate that. So Section 2 I want to talk about, again, hand in hand with the business models, the $3 killer. I'm not going to talk in favor or against $3 car washes, but I do want to open your eyes to a few things that we want to talk about and discuss that are variables people should consider when they're discussing their price points. So we're going to talk about good and bad, and I'm not really necessarily in favor of either or. $3 is right for some people and for some locations. It's wrong for some people in some locations, and I think there's a lot of misunderstandings that people need to be aware of. So some of the numbers I'm going to show you may completely not apply to your business. We've pulled a lot of data from our washes in Michigan and other washes around Michigan. So typically in Michigan we have bigger tunnels, heated drying, hot water, high processing speed up to 200 cars an hour. And so it may not necessarily apply exactly to you guys, but I want to show you a few things. Again, just a disclaimer, I'm talking about the $3. I'm not trying to alter your opinion or anything on $3 car washing one way or another. The number one thing is always pick the price for your market. That's what's most important. If you need to charge $10, charge $10. If you need to charge $3, charge $3. But I want to consider some of the following things when you discuss price points. Number one is looking at your gross margins and your gross profit, not your revenue. We've got increasing utility costs all over the country, increasing chemical costs, and increasing minimum wage. We estimate that we run about $2.75 cost to wash a basic wash. That's chemical, electric, water, labor, and depreciation, and all those other variable costs that fall in with that. You maybe say that's high. Well, some people that's low, some people that's probably high. A lot of $3 washes are typically set up pretty lean and mean. This is your typical large 200 car an hour, 3-combo system, heated, drying, hot water. So pretty typical, but do your own math and be honest with yourself. Consider depreciation, we'll talk about in a second. My question then is at $2.75 that we run to wash a basic wash, that's 25 cents per car in gross profit. Now consider $4. Going to $4 is a 25% increase to the consumer, but therefore a 500% increase in your gross profit. Putting a big $4 sign in front of your wash is sure to drive attention, and I think people misunderstand that it would require 5 times the traffic at $3 to make your gross profit the same, not a 33% increase like most people think. So look at the chart below. How many cars would it take to generate? We want to come up with $250,000 in gross profit off our base wash. At $3, it's going to take us 1 million cars because of our low margin per wash, because again, we're considering the variable cost per car. At $4, we're making $1.25 per car. We'd have to wash 200,000 cars. At $5, we're at $2.25 and have to wash 111,000 cars to get to $250,000. So maybe you say, well, hey, Ryan, my costs are $2 per car. Oh, well, if your costs are $2 per car, likewise then, again, a small 25% increase to the consumer from 3 to 4 is a 200% increase in your gross profit. So do your own math, figure it out for yourself, but the thing to look at is not revenue, it's gross profit. $1 million gross is not necessarily created equal. I know people that do 100,000 cars a year at $10, and I know people that do 200,000 cars a year at $5. I think everybody, we like to say, well, in an express wash environment, I'm applying this to, we want to gross $1 million a year. That's a great target, a great number to be at. That's typically a nice goal. At a $5 ticket average and 200,000 cars, again, considering the variable cost per car, we're talking $350 now because we're not talking the base wash. I'm explaining all wash packages. So we're talking the high-end washes and everything factored into this, and we'll see in a minute a breakdown of that. We're getting $1 million gross at $350 cost per car. Your gross profit comes out to $300,000. However, at $10 and $100,000, $1 million in sales, $350 cost per car, you put $650,000 toward the bottom line. So there's a big difference here when we add in depreciation of cost per cars, variable cost per cars that are often misunderstood. So what would you rather have, 100,000 cars at $10 or 200,000 at $5? It's not the same. One thing when we consider price points that's often overlooked is depreciation. Depreciation is not a perk on your taxes, it's a real expense. We're seeing this, like I just said, with McDonald's. They are tearing down their facilities and rebuilding them. They get old and tired. The model is no longer as good as it used to be. There's new technology comes out, and they literally flatten the place. It's worthless to them. They start from scratch. They're working with the land. It's a real cost. Whatever your expense for depreciation is, I suggest putting it into a CD or an investment account. It will need to be used down the road to enhance your facility. A lot of times we see, unfortunately, guys need to rehab their tunnels and have to go back to the bank. If we put into a savings, a cost per car, for that depreciation, we shouldn't have to do that. Again, that's a franchise concept that we're not utilizing. Come up with your real depreciation expense for your facility. Like Bob said, write it down, figure out the math, and know what that number is on a cost per car basis, and be real with yourself. Consider jet ownership. The engines on a jet are very similar to our car wash. They're one of the largest assets or costs for this airplane, and they're losing their value every hour you're flying. Likewise, our car wash, usually a third of our assets are in our equipment, and it's losing value right now while cars are being washed. Hotel depreciation. Hotels budget every 5 years typically to do complete overhauls. People don't like the carpet anymore. They don't like the couch. They don't like the rugs, the sinks. They want granite countertops. Well, they have to budget for these expenses to go in, rip everything out, and redesign in 5 years. That's something, again, franchise concept that we are not utilizing in our industry. Is it worth the depreciation on your facility for half your customers washing at or near cost? When we talk about $3 price points, we have a lot of volume going through there and wear and tear. So understand what your depreciation is per car. Just for example, below, I put a few numbers together, looking at the car wash equipment, what that may come out to if we said $200,000 for the main guts in the tunnel, and at 1.5 million cars to freshen the place up, 13 cents per car. Your asphalt, we've just done at our places this year, a lot of new concrete work that needs to be done. Comes out to maybe a penny a car. Vacuums, depreciate, we got to put in new vacuum systems. A roof, we just replaced one of our roofs, very cost effective. The concrete was literally falling apart, and we came in, put in a polycarbonate roof for virtually the same price, and did it ourselves and freshened up a roof. And building reimaging is key. We budget at our gas stations every 5 years to reface our facilities. They need paint jobs, they need new trendy looks. So that comes out to 24 cents a car. That's only a couple items. The next page here, you can see a full breakdown of some costs, and depreciation came out to 33 cents a car. These are real numbers, but averaged over a bunch of car washes. So, of course, the idea of $3 is to upsell, and if we can get to a $7 ticket average at $3, then we're making a little money on some customers and a lot of money on others, and everything comes out happy in the end. But we're still seeing 30 to 50% of customers buying the base wash. That's where that depreciation is important. A lot of times we have to reduce cost and reduce quality to go to $3, and we'll talk about that more at the end here. Actual data shown to the right. This is some average data. These are higher-end large washes averaged together, longer tunnels. But what we do here is a way to look at your financials is evaluating all your costs on a cost per car basis. Now, the one thing that allows us to do, we're taking fixed costs, not variable costs, and looking at a cost per car. So we're trying to get those fixed costs down, but also increasing the volume will reduce those costs per car. So even property tax, we're judging in a cost per car basis. That kind of breaks us down. We come out to $387 on the bottom line as a total cost per car. And I know that's not realistic because some of these items are not variable costs. They're not cost per car, but that's a nice way to look at them. A few variables that are important when evaluating your price that are often forgotten. Debt and development costs. Okay, some $3 models are successful because they're well established, maybe have a different debt load than new investors. Larger chains have better buying power for equipment, chemicals, and discounts and supplies. Larger chains have lower construction costs than a one-off single-site developer. So that's a variable debt and development cost that is hard to sometimes duplicate and may not be duplicatable in other parts of the country. Brand recognition is something that a lot of people don't utilize to our fullest extent. Having multiple sites in a single area is very valuable. We call it brand development. Critical mass or critical density is a point that you reach when you have multiple sites in a small region. We say 3 equals 5 and 5 equals 8. What that means is if I were to build 3 sites in a small community, like our sites in Holland, Michigan, we have 2 on the same road, one about 1.8 miles apart, and another one off to the side in between there. So within about a 2.5 mile radius, we have 3 sites. What that does is creates brand value to the consumer. That would be the equivalent. I could go build 5 sites scattered all around the country, or I can build 3 in one small area. The 3 are typically going to produce more. There's a lot of large chains that back that by building their brand in one area, or building 5 sites here is going to equal 8 scattered around the country. So some $3 models have critical density. They have that value added that we cannot duplicate just by building a single site. Other forgotten variables, we've already talked about cost per car. Creating clean, shiny, dry vehicles, it simply costs more to produce clean, shiny, dry to the highest level. Therefore, at $3, typically we have to cut costs. Shorter tunnels and less equipment is a key variable. There is a cost per car difference between long tunnels with lots of blowers, 3 combo units versus 1 or 2 combo units in the system. That also relates to processing speed. You take out a combo unit, now you can save money, but you're lowering your processing speed. At our places in Michigan, we can run up to 200 cars an hour, but it costs more to do that. We've got extra equipment to make that feasible. So not all models of car washes are able to run the $3 price point. You may have to reduce your quality to make the numbers work, and that's a difficult, touchy discussion. Okay, but the ICA did a study that we'll talk about that says that customers really prefer quality over price. and it's difficult to make the $3 work without reducing quality. Some other successful $3 models have multi-profit centers. This is a factor that we need to look at if we're building a freestanding express versus gas, C-store, wash, quick lube combination models. By adding gas, we believe we increase our car wash volume by 30%. And likewise, the car wash feeds our gas by 30%. Having a gas, C-store, wash, quick lubes, all these main profit centers are driving traffic. Using a $3 price point in the car wash to drive traffic on the site, that we're going to make up with gas, C-store, and lube sales, is great. That's like sort of using a loss leader, driving buzz, driving traffic. Again, multi-profit centers typically have lower land costs because the land is divided among multiple profit centers. So we may go in and buy 2 acres and divide it up into a gas station, a C-store, and diversify that land cost, and it actually comes out less cost than it would be for a freestanding express car wash. And the final point here is follow success. I believe the most successful car wash chain on a per store basis is Mike's Express in Indianapolis. Personal opinion, but I think a lot will believe that as well. Freestanding express model, and I look at them and I believe what they have done is create the cleanest, shiniest, driest car possible. Aside from the cost, figure out how to do it the best, spare no expense, and produce top-notch quality. That goes in hand with what I just stated about ICA. They did a survey about 4 years ago of consumer habits, and that study turned out to say that customers will pick quality over price. That is the number one thing in the customer's mind. They want quality. And so that is, and again, a decision that I believe has made Mike's one of the best in the country by producing quality rather than price. So thank you guys for listening. Thanks for joining us.